Now then, we have got a Makita battery here, or suitable for a Makita drill, and it's Valon or something like that, but it claims to be a 6 amp hour, which is quite big considering the standard ones are 3 amp hour. But it was in the scrap, and normally I would think, oh, it's full of water, but we've had a real dry spell, and I just thought, no, okay, let's give it a go, because it's the right, it's the right battery, and give everything a go, because you never know. So let's just zoom down and let's do some investigation. Right, so normally when I charge these things without the charger, because the chip on board has decided that I'm not allowed to, which is a bit of a... Never mind, stop ranting. So what volts have we got here? 15.6. Wow. Okay. Hopefully you saw that. Let's stick a screwdriver under there. 15.6. Is there any current? There's no current whatsoever. So let's just 15.6. No. Right, we can see that. Right, is there any current? Right, and no, and the volts drop down to nothing. So I'm not sure what that is telling me. We've done a current test like that before and found cells that although they produce voltage, wouldn't produce any current. I'll do a link to that video at the end of this one. So what are we going to do? I think we'll just have this apart and have a look. Something is happening. It's got voltage of a sort, which is a bit weird, but then most things are weird nowadays. Yeah, and whilst I've had it here, no water has dripped out of it, and this is the Torx here, so that's just the same as the proper Makita ones. If I can get the driver to engage, let's try this one instead. They're probably full of muck. Right, that one's undoing. And I think that one's undone. That's 2 screws out. Let me just get a bit of something to clean the heads of these screws out. And this is a little awl that I bought when I was a lad from the army surplus. Used to use it for leather work and stuff like that. There we go. So we got that one. Now we need this one. There we go. Go on, that's it. It's starting to slip a bit. Right, there's the screws out. Oh, well the top's popped off. Okay, and there's, oh! Right, let's zoom down on that. This is one of those things where look at that. I don't know how voltage came out of there, from there, across there. It must have been just, is it a bit wet? Bit of muck, something like that? Very odd. Or maybe the case was pressing it down hard like that. Let's just zoom out. Have we still got voltage there? Yeah, we have. Look at that. And there is literally no connection. Oh, that must be through the balance wires somehow. Anyway, whilst we're here, let's check the voltage of these cells. 4, 3.9, nothing, 4, 4, 3.9. Was that really nothing, or was it? It is 4, yeah. Grand. So it looks like all we need to do is solder that onto there. Isn't that amazing? And it would be even more amazing if it actually charged up on a Makita charger. So I'm just going to get the big soldering iron out and we'll solder that back together. I think really the other thing to do would be just to, oh, it's not glued down, because that battery pack of Lee's was glued in so hard that we actually damaged it getting it out. I'm gonna wipe this. Where are we? There. I'm gonna wipe this out because obviously there's signs of rust there, and there's signs of rust on that end. So it's had a bit of water in it, but not sufficient to short the cells out, which is one of the main problems of batteries that are left outside. The water gets in, shorts the cells out, and then it all starts rotting and rusting like mad. So I will just put a little bit of thin film of oil over that to stop that rust carrying on. But that side's alright. But again, I'll give it the oil treatment, I think. Just really fine layer, just to stop any rust happening. So that is like double amazing that it came out of the case and there were signs of rust, but it hadn't gone too far. I'll be back to you in a moment when the iron is warmed up. So that's the battery for all you people who want to check things out. It doesn't say what the amp hours are as far as I can see, but it's supposed to be 3 amp hour, which is rather big for an 18650. Well, maybe it's not nowadays, but I suspect they're only 2 amp hour, and the label on the side is disingenuous. Anyway, let's get on with the rest. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of oil on here. I don't want that rust to go any further. So that's the worst side. I think that'll be alright. Okay, so hopefully now the soldering iron the lead's caught up on something. Hopefully this soldering iron is now up to temperature. Certainly looks like it. Okay. Typical. There we go. And I suspect we really could do with putting a bit of, this might be lead-free solder, so we'll put some good old-fashioned lead solder on there. There we go. So I'm going to put this back together again, and then see if it will power a drill. Now we've got to have this the right way around. So the spring goes on there, and the spring goes at the end where there are the widest screw holes. And then, can we see alright? Yeah, we can. That just goes in there. And that just goes in there, and just hold it. And then just put that down. And that should do. So then we need to I'm just putting a little bit of oil on these screws. Because a bit of water has got to them, there's no harm in just lubricating them a bit. And as you know, I oil the bottom of my car once or twice a year with new oil, not with black oil. Just spray it on there, and after a few years the oil gets into just into everything, and when you want to undo something, it comes undone instead of it being seized solid. There's nothing wrong with lubricating things when you put them back together. And I would say there is something wrong with not lubricating them. And then some of these YouTuber car repair people, you see them putting stuff together without lubing the threads or anything like that, and you think, that's not right. I remember donkeys years ago, a long time ago, we had a Morris Minor when we were building the house, and the brother-in-law borrowed it for a week, and came back and said, or the message came through to me, oh, it's not charging anymore, it's packed up, this van's rubbish. Anyway, he charged the battery up and drove it back, and by the time he'd got the kettle going and made the tea, I'd had the dynamo off, changed the brushes, and it was all charging again. And that's because at some point I had it apart and I'd wire brushed all the threads off and greased everything, so they came apart dead easy. Now then, that little rant over and done with. We now have a battery that may have about 20 volts in it. So let's just put those there. Yeah, we can see that. .9 volts. So the proof of the pudding is, will it run a drill and then will it charge up on a Makita charger? So let me just go and get a drill. Okay. Right, so will it go? Oh, will it go? Yes, it will. Okay, test time. This is really quite dry Douglas fir, so I think that's pretty dang good. I'm sort of in shock here a bit. Right, let's put this in. This is the charger. And it's charging, I think. One of the problems here is it's the old green and red thing. Yeah, so it's not flashing, it's charging. And let me, let's just zoom in. Right, here we go. That light was on, which means that it's on, which there we are. So the only one that fully on, not flashing, is there, and that shows charging, and now it's fully charged, and that's green, which says 100%. That is amazing. I am just thankful to the scrapyard gods. I finally got a Makita battery that charges on a Makita charger. Wow, because all the rest of mine, the chips in them have said no, I don't think so. But this is wonderful, absolutely amazing. There you go. I saw it in amongst all the steel and I thought, that's a Makita battery. Shall I bother? And I thought, no, it'll be full of water and it'll be a right pain. And I thought, no, don't do that. Take it home. If it's great, it's great. If it's not, you can recycle it properly. Yeah? And there you go. We have a battery, theoretically 6 amp hour, but even if it's only 4 amp hour, that's absolutely amazing. And it charges up properly on the right Makita charger. Comments please. Yeah, like to hear your comments. Love to have a discussion. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheers for now.